Wayne Newton's financial disaster stemmed from his unsustainable borrowing against future earnings. Despite making $25 million annually at his peak, his empire eventually collapsed under $20 million of debt. What most financial experts overlook is that your money strategy must evolve through 4 distinct life stages. I've seen countless clients make the same mistakes, regardless of income level. In the next 12 minutes, I'll reveal a roadmap for managing your finances through each decade of life, from early career onwards. These aren't complex strategies reserved for the wealthy. They're fundamental principles that work at any income level. The $300 million meltdown. Did you know Mike Tyson once blew through $300 million and ended up $23 million in debt? That's enough money to buy 1,500 Lamborghinis. It's almost impossible to imagine earning and then losing that much money, but that's exactly what happened to Iron Mike. From his humble beginnings in Brownsville, Brooklyn, Tyson's rise to boxing superstardom was meteoric. By age 20, he had already become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. At his peak, Tyson was commanding an astounding $30 million per fight. That's more than most Americans will earn in their entire lifetime. Despite earning over $300 million throughout his boxing career, Tyson lost it all, and then some. His financial collapse happened almost as quickly as his rise to fame. In less than a decade, he went from being one of the wealthiest athletes on the planet to filing for bankruptcy in 2003, declaring debts of about $23 million. The money pit, where it all went. Tyson's spending habits resembled a meteor burning through the atmosphere, bright, fast, and ultimately destructive. His automobile collection alone cost approximately $4.5 million, featuring custom Bentleys, Lamborghinis, and a rare Rolls-Royce worth nearly $500,000. He purchased 3 Bengal tigers at $70,000 each, with an additional $125,000 annually for their trainer. His Connecticut mansion required $140,000 monthly just for maintenance. Inside sat a $2 million bathtub purchased for his first wife, costing more than most people's homes. The extravagance extended beyond these large purchases. Tyson spent $230,000 on a diamond-adorned gold chain and handed out over $410,000 in gifts during his 1988 birthday celebration. Add to this the cost of lavish parties, an entourage sometimes numbering 50 people, and poor business deals, and you have a financial catastrophe in the making. The psychological trap. Tyson's story highlights a psychological trap that affects many people, treating temporary income as permanent. During his prime, with $30 million of paychecks rolling in, the money seemed endless. Like a high-speed train that hasn't yet seen the broken tracks ahead, Tyson maintained his momentum without preparing for the inevitable slowdown. As his boxing skills declined and controversies mounted, the mega fights became less frequent. His income dropped dramatically, but his spending remained at championship levels. This mismatch between income and spending represents the core problem that affects both celebrities and ordinary people, failing to adjust financial habits to life stages. Tyson continued living a lifestyle that required peak heavyweight champion income when he was no longer the champion. This is comparable to someone who receives a promotion, immediately upgrades their entire lifestyle, then gets laid off a year later with empty savings accounts. The pattern behind the fall. Financial planning requires understanding your current life stage and planning accordingly. During peak earning years, saving and investing should take priority, not spending every incoming dollar. When income declines due to retirement, career changes, or other factors, lifestyle must adjust accordingly. Tyson's downfall stemmed from failing to recognize that his boxing career and its massive income was temporary. Rather than investing in assets that would generate future income, he focused on depreciating possessions like cars and jewelry, maintaining a lifestyle he couldn't sustain long-term. Economists and behavioral psychologists have identified clear patterns in how income and spending should ideally change throughout our lives. Tyson's financial decisions contradicted these established principles. The universal lesson. This mistake isn't exclusive to celebrities. Consider the worker who gets a bonus and immediately increases their standard of living, struggling when that bonus doesn't materialize the following year. or the business owner who has one exceptional year and expands too quickly, taking on unsustainable debt when business normalizes. The key lesson is that income rarely remains constant throughout life. It follows patterns of growth, plateaus, and declines. Without recognizing these patterns and planning accordingly, financial trouble often follows. Consider your own career trajectory. Will your income increase consistently year after year? Probably not. The question becomes, are your spending habits flexible enough to adapt to these changes? Have you built a financial buffer for inevitable downturns? What makes this challenging is our natural recency bias, giving more weight to recent experiences when predicting the future. When making good money, we assume that will continue indefinitely. During tough times, we become overly pessimistic. Overcoming this bias requires conscious effort, looking beyond current financial circumstances and planning for various possibilities. It means saving during prosperous periods to prepare for leaner time and developing the flexibility to adjust your lifestyle when circumstances change. The problem: financial amnesia. Flexibility in financial planning sounds simple, but there's a deep psychological reason why so many people, from celebrities to your next-door neighbor, get it catastrophically wrong. I call it financial amnesia, a condition where your brain quite literally forgets that money situations change throughout your life. This same psychological trap that bankrupted Mike Tyson is currently setting up millions of everyday Americans for a financial disaster they'll never see coming. The numbers reveal a startling pattern. About 78% of NFL players go broke within just 2 years of retirement, according to Sports Illustrated, while roughly 70% of lottery winners end up broke within 5 years. Like forgetting an umbrella on a day with storm clouds gathering, these individuals receive life-changing money, yet lose it all in less time than it takes to finish college. This phenomenon extends far beyond celebrities. Everyday people fall into the same trap, just with fewer zeros attached. The 35-year-old who gets promoted and immediately upgrades to a massive house, assuming promotions will continue indefinitely. The 55-year-old who hasn't saved enough for retirement but believes there's still plenty of time. These are intelligent people making predictable psychological errors. You might be experiencing this right now. Did your recent raise immediately translate to lifestyle expansion? Have you thought, I'll start saving more next year when I'm making more money? Or perhaps, I deserve this splurge because I've been working so hard. These are all symptoms of financial amnesia, the inability to remember that your current financial situation is temporary. The psychological mechanism behind this is fascinating. Humans have evolved with what behavioral economists call present bias. We're wired to assume current conditions will continue indefinitely. This bias significantly impacts financial decision-making, leading us to favor immediate rewards over future security. When you're financially comfortable, your brain struggles to imagine being broke. When money's tight, it's hard to believe things will ever improve. This present bias becomes particularly powerful in our daily lives. The 25-year-old with their first big job can't imagine their income plateauing or decreasing. The 45-year-old continues spending rather than saving, somehow convinced their peak earning years will last forever. Social media amplifies this cognitive blind spot. When Instagram feeds showcase new cars, exotic vacations, and fancy restaurants, your brain normalizes that spending level. You think, if everyone else is living large, why shouldn't I? What remains hidden is the debt behind those perfect photos, or the complete absence of retirement savings. According to NASDAQ research, emotions profoundly influence our financial behavior. Fear, anxiety, happiness, and social comparison drive our choices, often subconsciously. Your friend buying rounds at the bar might be spending from social anxiety rather than actual financial abundance. Those designer clothes you need for work might stem from fear of judgment rather than professional requirements. Financial amnesia feels completely rational in the moment. When income is flowing, spending seems reasonable. The possibility of decreasing income or increasing expenses feels distant and theoretical. Yet, life consistently delivers unexpected challenges. Health issues, recessions, career setbacks, or family emergencies can transform your finances overnight. This explains why celebrities and regular folks make the same financial mistakes. They fail to plan for changing income patterns. They overspend during peak earning years instead of building wealth, and they neglect adequate safety nets for inevitable downturns. The Ramsey Solutions research on the psychology of money highlights how our past experiences shape financial behaviors. Your parents' attitudes about money, the spending habits you observed growing up, and any financial stress you experienced all form your money mindset that guides decisions today. According to Benson Financial Group, our relationship with money falls into distinct mindsets: scarcity, never enough; abundance, plentiful opportunities; or balanced, money as a tool. Most financial struggles originate from a scarcity mindset, with decisions based on fear rather than strategy. Fortunately, your money mindset can evolve with conscious effort. Consider what would happen if, instead of succumbing to financial amnesia, you proactively planned for different financial life stages. Two people earning identical $75,000 salaries make different choices. Person A assumes this income is permanent and commits to a lifestyle using most of it. Person B recognizes uncertainty and lives on 70% while investing and saving the rest. When both face layoffs during a recession, Person A experiences immediate catastrophe, while Person B has a cushion providing time to find new opportunities without panic. This pattern applies whether you earn $75,000 or $7.5 million. The financially successful aren't necessarily the highest earners. They're those who understand financial circumstances change and plan accordingly. This isn't about denying yourself enjoyment when times are good. It's about finding balance, enjoying success now while remembering today's financial reality is temporary. The sweet spot is living well enough to be happy while still preparing for an uncertain future. The life cycle hypothesis explained. Finding that sweet spot between enjoying life and preparing for the future is actually backed by serious economic science. There's a Nobel Prize-winning theory that maps out exactly how your money should flow throughout your entire life, and most people, including mega-wealthy celebrities, are completely ignoring it. This same pattern applies whether you make $50,000 or $50 million, which explains why Wayne Newton's financial collapse was practically predictable, according to economic principles. Picture your financial life like riding a wave. You paddle hard in the beginning, catch momentum in the middle, and gracefully glide to shore at the end. This is essentially what economist Franco Modigliani discovered when he developed the life cycle hypothesis, which earned him the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1985. The theory is practical. Your income and spending needs follow predictable patterns throughout your lifetime, and successful financial planning means understanding and working with these patterns. According to Modigliani's research, income typically follows an inverted U-shaped pattern. Early career, 20s, 30s. Starting low, gradually climbing. Mid-career, 30s, 40s, steadily rising. Peak years, 50s, reaching maximum earnings. Later years, 50s plus, gradually declining through retirement. While income follows this mountain pattern, your spending needs don't match the same curve. When you're 25, you might earn little but need to establish your adult life. At 35 to 45, you might have children and their expenses. At 55, you might help with college costs while saving for retirement. This mismatch creates tension points in your financial life. The life cycle hypothesis suggests smoothing your consumption over your lifetime through strategic saving and borrowing. Visualize two lines on a graph, your income forming that mountain shape, and your ideal spending represented by a flatter line rising gradually. The gap between these lines is where financial planning happens. Save when income exceeds spending. Draw from savings when spending exceeds income. This explains why celebrities like Wayne Newton end up broke despite earning millions. He lived as if his peak earnings would continue forever, building mansions, buying private jets, collecting rare horses, assuming his income would never decline. But economic reality follows predictable patterns regardless of our wishes. The same principle applies whether you're a Vegas superstar or an office worker in Toledo. Consider Maria, a dental hygienist making $65,000 annually. If she saves nothing during her peak earning years, 40 to 55, she'll face the same proportional crisis as Newton, just with fewer zeros. The life cycle hypothesis divides your financial journey into 4 distinct stages. 1. Early career, 20 to 35. Strategic borrowing for education and basic needs. Investing in your future earning potential. Beginning modest savings habits. 2. Mid-career, 35-50. Aggressive saving during highest income years. Major wealth building phase. Balancing family expenses with retirement preparation. 3. Pre-retirement, 50 to 65. Focusing on protection and preservation, securing accumulated assets, transitioning investments toward safety. 4. Retirement, 65 plus, carefully drawing down accumulated assets, maintaining lifestyle with decreased income, managing longevity risk. Financial disasters often occur when people apply the wrong strategy at the wrong stage, saving too little during peak earning years, taking massive investment risks before retirement, or spending everything during prime earning years. Life isn't perfectly predictable, but understanding these patterns helps you adapt when circumstances change. Think of it like knowing the seasons. Summer is generally warmer than winter, even with daily temperature variations. Your financial life has seasons too, and understanding them gives you tremendous advantage. Most financial advisors know these principles, but rarely explain the underlying economic theory. They'll tell you to save more in your 40s or reduce investment risk before retirement without explaining why these recommendations align with economic science. What's remarkable about the life cycle hypothesis is how accurately it predicts financial outcomes. Studies consistently show that people who align their strategies with their life stage outperform those who don't, regardless of income level. Why don't more people follow this approach? Psychology plays a major role. We focus on the present rather than the future, struggle to imagine future needs as vividly as current desires, and are influenced by social media showing how others live now, not how they're preparing for later. The life cycle hypothesis provides the roadmap, but you still must drive the car. Understanding these patterns removes much of the financial guesswork. Instead of wondering if you're saving enough or spending too much, you can look at economic science for clear guidelines based on your current life stage, making it possible to enjoy today while still preparing for tomorrow. Stage 1. Early career money moves, 20 to 35. With our financial roadmap in hand, it's time to take a hard look at the first stage of your money journey. Would you believe that the financial habits you form between 20 to 35 have more impact on your future wealth than almost any investment you'll make later in life? This is exactly where 50 Cent's financial rebirth began. After filing for bankruptcy, Curtis Jackson, that's 50's real name, completely revamped how he approached his finances from the ground up, focusing on the fundamentals that should have been in place all along. The early career stage isn't about having a lot of money to work with. It's about setting up the systems that will eventually build your wealth. Think of it like building a house. You can have the fanciest design plans in the world, but if your foundation is weak, the whole thing will eventually collapse. Many young adults focus on quick wins instead of establishing rock-solid financial habits. Let's talk about what 50 Cent learned the hard way. After his bankruptcy, he realized that his approach to money needed a complete overhaul. It was about mastering the basics first, and that's exactly what you need to do in this early career stage. The decisions you make between 20 and 35 create the financial DNA that will either set you up for success or struggle for decades to come. Here's what makes this stage so critical. You're establishing your relationship with money when you have the least amount of it. The habits you form when resources are scarce are the ones that will stick with you when abundance comes. This is why Gen Z's increasing credit card balances are concerning. At the end of 2023, 20 to 24-year-olds carried an average balance of $2,834, higher than what millennials had at the same age a decade ago. Your financial priorities during this foundation-building phase should be establishing consistent savings habits, even $25 a week matters, tackling high-interest consumer debt strategically, and starting retirement accounts as early as possible. The 50-30-20 rule provides an excellent framework for early career budgeting. Let's break it down. 50% of your income goes to needs: housing, utilities, groceries, minimum debt payments, and other essentials. 30% goes to wants: entertainment, dining out, and non-essentials. 20% goes toward your financial future: savings, debt paydown beyond minimums, and investments. Take Sarah, one of our viewers, who started with just allocating 5% to savings because she felt overwhelmed. Within a year of implementing the 50-30-20 approach, she built her first emergency fund and is now debt-free. The simple structure made the difference. But here's a crucial modification for the early career stage: that 20% for your future should first go toward building an emergency fund. Before retirement or investing, you need a financial cushion. Without it, one unexpected expense can derail your entire financial plan. Only after you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved should you redirect those funds toward retirement. Look at the power of starting early. $100 a month into a retirement account starting at age 25, assuming a 7% average annual return, grows to about $228,000 by age 65. Wait until you're 35, and that same investment only grows to $110,000. That's compound interest, like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering more snow as it goes. Starting just 10 years earlier literally doubles your money with a coffee and lunch money level investment. The biggest financial mistakes young adults make aren't about frivolous spending. The real wealth killers are lifestyle inflation, when your spending increases at the same rate as your income. Got a $5,000 raise? Suddenly you're spending $5,000 more per year. This is where financial discipline makes or breaks your future. Another major mistake is neglecting retirement accounts, especially employer-matched ones. If your company offers a 401k match, not taking full advantage is turning down free money. Even if you're paying off student loans, contribute enough to get the match. It's an immediate 100% return. The debt trap is serious too. Gen Z is showing concerning trends, with 1.6% of young cardholders more than 60 days delinquent on payments in late 2023, compared to only 1% of millennials a decade ago. This generation has been hit hard by inflation, with nearly 20% of their income going to rent, compared to just 7% for the average American. When stretched thin, credit cards become tempting, but high-interest debt can haunt you for years. During this early career phase, your best investment is actually in yourself. Prioritize developing skills that increase your earning potential. A certification that boosts your salary by $5,000 annually will generate far more wealth over your lifetime than most investments available at this stage. A 10% income increase through additional skills is like getting a guaranteed 10% return year after year, completely immune to market crashes. Thankfully, numerous free resources exist specifically for young adults. The FDIC's Money Smart curriculum, Khan Academy, cashcourse.org, and Money Skill all offer practical money management strategies. In your 20s, focus heavily on habit formation, not dollar amounts. Create automatic saving systems, manage debt aggressively, make small but consistent investments, and build marketable skills. This approach differs radically from your 40s strategy, when you'll focus on accelerating wealth accumulation. But you can't reach a success. Stage 2, mid-career wealth building, 35 to 50. Now, welcome to your financial sweet spot. That 15-year window between 35 and 50 is like the financial championship round of your life. Every money move you make during this critical phase carries 3 times the impact of decisions in any other period. It's where Wayne Newton's empire started crumbling, while Jay-Z was busy transforming his success into a billion-dollar fortune. The difference? Understanding how to play the mid-career money game. This is your prime earning window. Your salary likely hits its highest point, your career momentum is strong, and you've got experience on your side. But here's the plot twist. This is also when life gets expensive. Between possible mortgage payments, family costs, and career investments, your money is pulled in more directions than ever before. This is exactly where Wayne Newton went wrong. While Newton squandered millions on risky ventures and extravagant spending during his Vegas prime, Jay-Z diversified into businesses like Rocawear clothing and Tidal streaming. The contrast is clear. extravagant mansion with gold fixtures versus building an empire with multiple income streams. The balancing act defines this stage. You're juggling peak career demands while managing a home, raising kids, and planning for college expenses, all while trying to supercharge your retirement savings. This phase requires strategic allocation across competing priorities that all feel urgent and important. Your saving strategy needs a serious upgrade during these years. That casual 10% you might have saved in your 20s should increase to 15 to 25% of your income. With all these expenses, how can I possibly save more? Through ruthless prioritization. This period determines your future financial security, and every percentage point matters. Consider this example. At $80,000 annually in your late 30s, saving 20% means $16,000 a year. Steep? Perhaps, but this is your wealth multiplication zone. Money invested now has decades to compound before retirement. Our financial modeling shows each dollar saved at 40 can be worth 3 times more at retirement than dollars saved at 55. The biggest threat to mid-career wealth building isn't market crashes or bad investments. It's lifestyle inflation. As your income climbs, there's an almost gravitational pull to upgrade everything. Bigger house, newer car, fancier vacations, private schools. Before you know it, your expenses match your income perfectly, leaving no financial improvement despite earning more. This brings us to strategic deprivation, deliberately keeping certain expenses low even as your income rises. Maybe you drive your car for 10 years instead of 5. Perhaps you stay in your starter home longer instead of immediately upgrading to the maximum mortgage you qualify for. These intentional choices create massive financial leverage. How massive? The difference between driving a car for 10 years versus replacing it every 3 years can mean an additional $200,000 in retirement savings. Newton and Jay-Z illustrate this principle perfectly. Newton built a 52-acre estate with exotic animals and private jets, while Jay-Z maintained relatively modest spending habits compared to his wealth, focusing on business investments instead of status symbols. Your investment approach needs to shift during these years. Diversification becomes crucial as your portfolio grows, spreading investments across different asset classes like stocks, bonds, real estate, and potentially alternatives. Tax-advantaged accounts become essential during this phase. Maxing out your 401k or workplace retirement plan should be non-negotiable, especially with employer matches. Consider Roth IRAs if you qualify, HSAs with high-deductible health plans, and possibly 529 plans for children's education. The tax benefits compound significantly, potentially adding hundreds of thousands to your retirement bottom line. Risk management evolves in this phase. A good rule of thumb: have a percentage of bonds roughly equal to your age, with the rest in growth-oriented investments. At 40, that might mean 40% bonds and 60% stocks. Remember to rebalance annually to maintain your target allocation as markets move. The most common mistake in your 30s and 40s is prioritizing lifestyle over long-term wealth building. The keeping up with the Joneses syndrome with higher stakes. What's the price of this comparison trap? It often means working an additional decade despite earning enough to retire earlier. Here's a practical tip. Automatically direct raises and bonuses to savings and investments before you get used to spending them. If you get a 5% raise, increase your 401k contribution by 3 to 4% immediately. You'll still feel a small bump in take-home pay, but the majority builds your future. The power of automation is invaluable during this phase. Set up automatic transfers to investment accounts, retirement funds, and dedicated savings goals. This removes the psychological burden of constantly making good decisions and ensures consistency when life gets hectic. Another effective mid-career strategy is developing future vision, the ability to clearly see and emotionally connect with your future self. Research shows people who view digitally aged photos of themselves save more for retirement because they feel a stronger connection to their future selves. During these wealth-building years, regularly visualize what financial freedom in your 60s actually looks like. Not just the numbers, but the lifestyle and peace of mind. 50 Cent's fatal financial flaw. You might be crushing it with investments and saving like a pro, but are you actually protecting what you've built? 50 Cent made over $100 million on a single business deal, yet still ended up filing for bankruptcy when a financial threat blindsided him that most people never see coming. Curtis Jackson's rise from street hustler to music mogul is legendary. His business savvy made him exceptional. While many artists were content with royalty checks, 50 Cent built an empire. His most brilliant move was taking equity instead of cash for endorsing vitamin water. When Coca-Cola acquired the company, that stake reportedly netted him around $100 million, proving his serious business instincts. Despite being one of hip-hop's smartest entrepreneurs, 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy in July 2015. This bankruptcy involved debts between $10 and $50 million. How does someone with such obvious financial intelligence end up in bankruptcy court? The answer reveals a blind spot that threatens everyone's finances, regardless of income level: inadequate protection against unexpected liabilities. 50 Cent's downfall wasn't bad investments or excessive spending, it was lawsuits. The most devastating was a $7 million judgment in a sex tape case, but he also owed money to various companies, banks, and the IRS. 50 Cent could spot a great investment opportunity and turn it into a $100 million payday, but he left all that wealth exposed to lawsuits without proper protection. It's like building the world's most impressive sandcastle right at the water's edge. When the tide comes in, it doesn't matter how beautifully constructed it was. This is a universal problem. Most people focus exclusively on making and growing money while completely ignoring the protection side of personal finance. I call this the offense-only strategy, and it's incredibly risky regardless of your income level. Consider this example. You might be diligently saving in your 401k, investing in index funds, and flipping houses on the side. But without proper insurance coverage, a single accident could wipe out years of careful wealth building. One lawsuit, medical emergency, or property disaster is all it takes. The financial defense gap manifests in several critical, often overlooked areas. 1. Insurance gaps. Being underinsured with minimum auto liability coverage when comprehensive protection is needed, or lacking disability insurance despite being more likely to become disabled than die during your working years. 2. Emergency unpreparedness. Having no safety net when statistics show 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 unexpected expense. 3. Structural vulnerabilities. Failing to establish proper legal entities that separate personal and business assets, especially important as wealth increases. 4. Digital exposure. Neglecting to protect digital assets and identity in our increasingly online financial world. For wealthy individuals like 50 Cent, the stakes are enormously high. Without complex structures like trusts, appropriate business entities, and strategic asset placement, wealth becomes an attractive target. Financial defense isn't glamorous. Nobody brags about their umbrella insurance policy or carefully structured trust, but these protective measures preserve wealth over time. What could 50 Cent have done differently? He should have established proper legal structures to separate his personal assets from business liabilities. Setting up trusts, LLCs, and other entities creates legal boundaries that shield personal wealth from professional risks. When done correctly, a lawsuit against his business ventures wouldn't have threatened his personal assets. Comprehensive insurance coverage, specialized policies including umbrella liability insurance, would have provided an additional layer of protection for situations involving multi-million-dollar judgments. Additionally, maintaining proper financial documentation and compliance is essential, as part of 50 Cent's troubles stem from tax issues and poorly documented transactions. Start your own protection by performing a financial vulnerability audit. Examine your current insurance coverage and ask, if the worst happened tomorrow, would I be adequately protected? Most people discover significant gaps. For example, if you have a $300,000 auto liability policy, but cause an accident resulting in $500,000 of medical bills, you pay the difference from your savings, investments, or future earnings. An umbrella policy, costing a few $100s annually, could protect you from this $200,000 shortfall. Beyond insurance, consider how your assets are titled and structured. Certain retirement accounts offer creditor protection under federal law. Homestead exemptions in some states protect home equity. These are legitimate strategies that should be part of your financial plan. A year after filing, 50 Cent concluded his bankruptcy with a $23 million payout to creditors. Today he's worth about $40 million. Impressive, but far less than he might have maintained with proper protection strategies. The next time you check your portfolio balance or celebrate investment gains, remember that your carefully built financial house could wash away with one unexpected lawsuit, just like watching decades of retirement savings disappear over a single uninsured accident. Stage 3. Pre-retirement protection. 50-65. That protection mindset becomes even more critical as you approach your 50s and 60s. Just ask Wayne Newton, who at 52 made a financial decision that virtually guaranteed his bankruptcy years later, despite decades of Vegas success and millions in earnings. His story reveals a painful truth. The pre-retirement phase isn't about chasing more growth. It's about protecting what you've already built. When Newton turned 52, he stood at a crucial crossroads familiar to anyone in their pre-retirement years. This is when most financial experts recommend shifting from aggressive wealth building to a protection-focused strategy. But instead of battening down the hatches, Newton doubled down on risky ventures and maintained his lavish lifestyle. A mistake that haunted him well into his 60s when he faced issues with back taxes and fines related to an abandoned private jet. Think about it. After working for decades to build wealth, why risk it all right before you need it most? The pre-retirement phase between 50 and 65 requires a strategic shift in your financial thinking. It's like driving a car. In your early years, you accelerate to build speed, wealth, but as you approach your destination, retirement, you need to apply the brakes gradually and steer more carefully to safely arrive at your destination. This is exactly where 2/3 of Americans go wrong. They continue the same financial habits from their 40s right into their 50s and 60s, not realizing that this phase demands an entirely different approach. You've spent decades in the accumulation game, but now it's time to play defense with your money. The first major shift needs to happen in your investment approach. Those aggressive growth stocks that served you well in your 40s need reevaluation. Financial experts recommend transitioning to a more conservative investment mix as you approach retirement. This typically means increasing your allocation to fixed income investments like bonds to protect those hard-earned assets. A good rule of thumb is to consider increasing your bond allocation as you age. This doesn't mean abandoning stocks entirely. You still need growth to combat inflation. But it does mean acknowledging that you have less time to recover from major market downturns. A significant market crash at 35 gives you decades to recover, but the same crash at 60 could derail your retirement plans permanently. Catch-up contributions become a powerful tool during this life stage. In 2025, those 50 and over can make additional catch-up contributions of $7,500 to a 401k and $1,000 to an IRA beyond the standard limits. Consider Margaret, a 52-year-old marketing executive who realized she was behind on retirement savings. By maximizing her catch-up contributions for 13 years, she added over $200,000 to her retirement fund, transforming her retirement outlook from concerning to comfortable. These catch-up contributions can be game changers for those who started saving later or need to accelerate their savings before retirement. An extra $8,500 per year over 15 years, assuming a modest 6% return, adds up to nearly $250,000 in additional retirement funds that could fund several years of retirement. Unlike Newton, who maintained high levels of debt as he aged, creating a financial time bomb, successful pre-retirees prioritize debt reduction. Going into retirement with significant debt is like trying to run a race with weights strapped to your ankles. Mortgage debt, credit card balances, auto loans, these all need addressing aggressively during your 50s and early 60s. A 2023 Bankrate study found concerning trends. 32% of Gen Zers and 46% of millennials reported having more credit card debt than emergency savings. If these habits continue as these generations age, they're setting themselves up for pre-retirement disaster. Beyond investment and debt strategies, this life phase demands creating multiple income streams. Wayne Newton relied heavily on his performance income, but a more diversified approach might have provided crucial stability. Look at Richard, a former corporate accountant who developed a small tax preparation business at 55 alongside his main career. When he faced an unexpected layoff at 61, this side business provided both income and purpose during his transition to full retirement. These multiple income streams serve as insurance against the possibility of job loss or forced early retirement. Data consistently shows that many workers retire earlier than planned due to health issues, layoffs, or family caregiving responsibilities. Having alternative income sources already established provides a financial buffer during unexpected transitions. Stress testing your financial plan becomes essential during this phase. This involves analyzing how your finances would handle various negative scenarios, market downturns, unexpected medical expenses, or long-term care needs. By running these simulations, you can identify vulnerabilities in your financial plan before they become real problems. What 3 strategies could have saved Wayne Newton from bankruptcy? First, diversifying his income sources beyond performances would have provided stability when his star power faded. Second, aggressively reducing debt would have decreased his monthly obligations. Third, gradually scaling back his lifestyle to match his future retirement income would have created a sustainable financial path. The key insight from Newton's financial collapse isn't about celebrity excess, it's about the failure to adapt financial strategies to changing life circumstances. The same principles apply whether you're managing millions or preparing for retirement on a modest income. Financial seasons change and your strategies must change with them. Stage 4. Retirement sustainability, 65 plus. While Wayne Newton failed to adapt his financial strategy before retirement, the real challenge comes when the paychecks stop completely. Running out of money is the one fear among retirees, yet most people have no idea how much they can safely withdraw each year without depleting their savings. The difference between comfort and crisis often comes down to a simple number, 4%. Welcome to the final financial life stage, retirement. This is where all your previous planning either rewards you with decades of financial security or leaves you scrambling to make ends meet. After 65, you're no longer in the accumulation game. You've entered what financial experts call the distribution phase. Think about retirement like this. You've spent decades filling up a water tank, and now you need that water to last for potentially 30 plus years. Draw too much too quickly, and you'll run dry with years of life ahead. That's why sustainable withdrawal strategies become absolutely essential once those regular paychecks stop. The famous 4% rule forms the foundation of retirement planning. This guideline suggests you can withdraw 4% of your total savings in your first year of retirement, then adjust that amount for inflation each year after. With $1 million saved, you take out $40,000 the first year. This isn't a universal solution, though. Your actual safe withdrawal rate depends on factors like longevity, risk tolerance, and economic conditions. Contrast Newton's approach with Paul McCartney, who successfully transitioned from performer to savvy businessman. McCartney diversified his income through music royalties, publishing rights, and smart investments. He created multiple streams that continue flowing whether he's working or not. That's the retirement sweet spot. Creating a sustainable retirement requires structuring your finances to last. This means optimizing your Social Security benefits. Waiting until 70 to claim can increase your monthly check by up to 32% compared to claiming at 62. It also means making tax-efficient withdrawals. Knowing which accounts to tap first can save you thousands in unnecessary taxes. Building retirement around multiple income streams works at all income levels. Even modest savings consistently applied over time grow substantially. A middle-class earner who saves $500 monthly from age 25 to 65 with a 7% average return would have over $1.2 million at retirement. Sustainability also depends on how you manage withdrawals. Market downturns can devastate a retirement portfolio if you're withdrawing at the wrong times. Flexible spending strategies are crucial. When markets drop, temporarily reducing your withdrawals by even 10 to 15% can dramatically improve your portfolio's longevity. Healthcare remains one of the largest expenses for retirees and tends to increase with age. Having a specific strategy for healthcare costs is essential. Medicare covers some expenses, but the average couple still needs approximately $300,000 set aside just for healthcare costs in retirement. Financial planners refer to the retirement smile, the U-shaped pattern of retirement expenses. They typically start higher in the early active retirement years, travel and hobbies, dip in mid-retirement as activity levels decrease, then rise significantly in later years as healthcare costs climb. Understanding this pattern allows for more accurate planning, allocating resources differently across retirement decades. Successful retirees create sustainable income from their career achievements and properly invest earnings in income-producing assets rather than depreciating luxuries. They right-size their lifestyle to match sustainable retirement income. These principles apply whether planning a celebrity-sized retirement or a middle-class one. The math remains the same, only the zeros change. For those wondering how this applies without millions to work with, the principle is identical, regardless of income level. Earning $60,000 annually, saving 15 to 20% consistently, and investing wisely can create a retirement that maintains your standard of living. The key is that percentage, not the absolute dollar amount. A simple approach works for everyone. During working years, live on 80% of your income and save 20%. Then in retirement, you'll be accustomed to living on 80%, making the transition smoother. This live below your means strategy works at all income levels. Ironically, celebrities with massive incomes should find this easier than average earners. Living on 50% of a multi-million-dollar income still provides an extraordinary lifestyle while building substantial retirement security. Yet they often struggle more with lifestyle restraint because of their outsized resources. A strong retirement strategy requires understanding your true expenses, determining your income sources, creating a withdrawal hierarchy that minimizes taxes, maintaining proper asset allocation, and planning for regular reviews and adjustments. For those in earlier life stages, the takeaway is clear. Consistently saving during peak earning years creates the foundation for retirement security. Even modest savings applied consistently across decades can grow into substantial retirement funds thanks to compound interest. The psychology behind financial self-destruction. While consistent saving creates the foundation for retirement security, there's an invisible force that can undermine even the most solid financial plan: your own psychology. The same brain wiring that helps celebrities earn millions also drove them to bankruptcy, and you might be falling into identical mental money traps without even realizing it. You've seen the patterns with Wayne Newton, Mike Tyson, and 50 Cent, three wildly different celebrities from different eras who somehow made the exact same financial mistakes. That's not a coincidence. Their financial collapses stemmed from basic psychological traps that affect everyone, regardless of income level. Financial therapist Barry Tesler explains that a shocking 85 or 90% of our money decisions are based on our emotions rather than logic. Almost all financial choices come from emotional reactions, not rational thinking. This explains why even financial experts sometimes make terrible money choices when their own cash is on the line. When your brain makes money decisions, it's like two powerful forces engaged in a tug of war. Imagine your prefrontal cortex as the wise elder, carefully weighing long-term outcomes, while your emotional brain is the impulsive child demanding immediate satisfaction. When emotions trigger hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, the impulsive child often wins, literally hijacking your decision-making process. Have you ever known something was a bad financial choice but did it anyway? That's your emotional brain pulling harder on the rope. This tug of war played out dramatically with our celebrities. Wayne Newton expanded his lavish estate despite mounting debts because of status anxiety, the psychological need to maintain appearances. Mike Tyson spent millions on impulse purchases due to present bias, valuing immediate satisfaction over future security. And 50 Cent overlooked protection strategies because of optimism bias, assuming negative outcomes happen to others, not himself. Are these forces affecting your finances too? When you splurge on a purchase you can't afford because you deserve it, that's present bias. When you avoid checking your retirement balance, that's anxiety-triggered avoidance. When you upgrade your car because your neighbor got a new one, that's status anxiety. Neuroscience explains why we struggle with these mental money traps. Our brains evolved in environments where immediate rewards were crucial for survival. The neural pathways processing immediate rewards flood with dopamine, while long-term planning pathways provide much less stimulation. Your brain is wired to choose today's purchase over retirement savings decades away. Present bias may be the most powerful trap in personal finance. Studies show people choose $100 today over $120 in a month, but when both options move to the future, 12 versus 13 months, people suddenly become patient and choose the larger amount. This creates a vicious cycle where you perpetually plan to start saving next month while your future self grows poorer with each decision. Remember how 50 Cent continued spending lavishly even as lawsuits mounted against him? That's present bias in action. Loss aversion is another powerful force affecting your money decisions. People feel losses about twice as intensely as equivalent gains. Do you hold on to declining investments hoping they'll recover rather than accepting the loss? That's loss aversion, which can lead to either excessive frugality or complete avoidance of financial planning. Status anxiety, particularly potent in today's social media world, drives constant comparison of financial lives based on incomplete information. You see vacation photos, but not credit card statements. Wayne Newton couldn't scale back his lifestyle even facing bankruptcy because his identity was wrapped up in projecting wealth and success. Your upbringing shapes your financial psychology significantly. If your parents avoided money discussions, you might feel anxious when talking about finances. If they were extremely frugal, you might continue that pattern or rebel against it. How do your childhood experiences influence your current financial habits? To overcome these psychological traps, develop financial awareness by tracking spending and creating a budget reflecting your true values. Challenge cognitive biases by seeking diverse financial perspectives. Before making significant purchases, take a 24-hour cooling-off period to let emotional responses fade. Set clear financial goals connected to emotional motivations. Save $10,000 for a house down payment so my family has stability ties logical action to emotional rewards your brain can get excited about. Create a flexible budget allowing some impulse spending while protecting long-term goals. Automation is your secret weapon. Money automatically moved to savings bypasses willpower battles entirely. You can't impulsively spend what you don't see in your checking account. Seek accountability through financial partners or advisors. When you're accountable to someone else, you're less likely to make impulsive decisions. Many successful athletes maintained wealth through advisors who weren't afraid to say no to unnecessary purchases. Regularly review your financial plan, especially during emotional life transitions like marriage, career shifts, or approaching retirement. These are peak danger zones for psychological traps that can trigger spending spikes or avoidance when clear thinking is most needed. Your 5-step financial action plan. Those regular financial reviews we just mentioned, they're the difference between building wealth and following Wayne Newton into bankruptcy court. What if I told you that a simple 5-step system could have prevented his $20 million financial disaster and can protect your money too? This is about having a concrete plan that evolves with your life stages. Let's face it, without taking action now, you're basically volunteering to repeat the same mistakes that bankrupted celebrities who made millions. The good news? You don't need a finance degree to get this right. Let me walk you through the exact 5-step plan that would have saved Wayne Newton's fortune and can secure your financial future, no matter where you are in life. Step 1. Know your financial life stage. Determine which of the 4 life stages you're currently in. Early career, 20 to 35, mid-career, 35-50, pre-retirement, 50-65, or retirement, 65+. Then assess whether your financial habits actually match the strategies appropriate for that period. If you're 42 but still saving at the same rate you did at 25, you're leaving money on the table during your peak earning years. Be brutally honest with yourself. Are you carrying high-interest debt that should have been eliminated years ago? Is your emergency fund appropriate for your current life responsibilities? This initial audit creates your baseline. It shows you exactly where you are versus where you should be. Step 2. Create a 5-year plan with specific milestones. Building on your life stage assessment, define clear, specific financial goals. According to NASDAQ research, this is crucial for success. Whether purchasing a home, starting a business, or building an emergency fund, determine the exact amount needed and break these goals into smaller milestones. Your plan should reflect your life stage. Early career might focus on eliminating student debt and saving for a home, while mid-career should accelerate retirement contributions and plan for children's education. Use the SMART approach. Make goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Instead of save more money, set a goal to save $30,000 for a house down payment by December 2027 by setting aside $500 monthly. Step 3. Automate savings based on your life stage. This is where planning becomes action. Each life stage has an appropriate savings percentage that you should automate. Early career, start with 10 to 15% toward retirement plus separate savings for short-term goals. Mid-career, increase to 15 to 25% as your income grows. Pre-retirement, max out catch-up contributions and eliminate debt. Automation overcomes psychological barriers. Research shows that people who use automatic transfers save significantly more than those relying on willpower. Set up direct deposits that immediately funnel money to your various accounts before you can touch it. Consider using digital account aggregators like Mint, YNAB, or Fidelity's Full View to track progress and maintain accountability. Step 4. Build age-appropriate financial defenses. Wayne Newton and 50 Cent both neglected this step, costing them dearly. Your protection strategy must evolve as your wealth and responsibilities grow. Early career requires basic insurance and a starter emergency fund. Mid-career demands comprehensive insurance, health, life, disability, property, and a fully funded emergency account. Pre-retirement requires annual insurance reviews to confirm coverage matches your assets and liabilities. Estate planning becomes essential regardless of net worth. Create a will, healthcare power of attorney, advanced healthcare directive, and durable financial power of attorney. Review these documents annually and consider a revocable living trust if appropriate. Step 5. Schedule quarterly financial check-ins. As you move between life stages, your strategy must evolve. Regular check-ins help identify changing circumstances, evaluate progress, and make necessary adjustments. Review after major life events, marriage, new job, children, significant income changes, and at least annually, even when nothing major has changed. Assess whether you're meeting goals, if your investment strategy still aligns with objectives, and if your budget needs adjusting. These quarterly reviews are essential. Wayne Newton's financial collapse resulted from years of missed check-ins and failure to adjust his strategy as circumstances changed. Take immediate action today. Identify your life stage, check if your savings rate matches recommendations, examine spending patterns, and forecast cash flow. According to Fidelity's guidelines, allocate about 50% of take-home pay toward essentials. Evaluate your retirement savings targets and increase contributions if you're falling behind. Finally, automate your plan with transfers to savings accounts, automatic bill payments, and reminders for quarterly check-ins. This 5-step system works regardless of income, whether you're making $50,000 or $5 million. The key is implementing a structured approach that evolves with your life stages and doesn't rely on willpower alone. The 20/80 rule of financial success. A system that works for any income level sounds great, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Systems fail when psychology fails. In fact, when I examined Wayne Newton's financial choices alongside other celebrities who maintained their wealth, one startling pattern emerged. Financial success is 20% about the strategies you implement and 80% about the psychological habits you maintain. This explains why two people following identical financial plans can end up with dramatically different results. Let's be real, we all know someone who makes less money than us, but somehow seems to be doing better financially. Meanwhile, Wayne Newton earned millions throughout his career, yet still faced financial ruin. The difference wasn't that Paul McCartney or Jay-Z had access to secret investment strategies that Wayne didn't. They simply approached money with a completely different mindset. The psychological discipline to implement financial advice consistently is what separates success from failure. Think of it like tuning a guitar. You can have the finest instrument in the world, but without proper tuning and technique, you'll never create beautiful music. Similarly, financial strategies need psychological discipline to produce wealth, regardless of income level. Your money mindset, those deep-seated beliefs about finances, creates the foundation for every financial decision. Most people who struggle financially operate from a scarcity mindset, making decisions based on fear rather than strategy. When you believe there will never be enough, you make impulsive decisions that satisfy immediate emotional needs rather than support long-term goals. Cognitive biases sabotage our financial decision-making without us realizing it. Loss aversion makes us fear financial losses about twice as intensely as we value equivalent gains, explaining why investors often panic sell during market downturns. Anchoring bias makes us rely too heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, distorting how we perceive value. Present bias prioritizes immediate rewards over future benefits, while confirmation bias leads us to seek information that only confirms our existing money beliefs. These psychological factors explain why two celebrities with identical income levels end up with completely opposite financial outcomes. The difference lies in the consistent application of strategy over time. Financial discipline becomes crucial here. The celebrities who maintained their wealth stuck to basic principles consistently across each life stage. They saved appropriately, controlled lifestyle inflation as their income increased, and regularly reviewed their financial plans. Research confirms this approach works. Studies show that automation of good financial habits leads to significantly higher savings rates compared to relying on willpower alone. When you set up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts, you bypass the psychological battle altogether. Understanding your money mindset is the first step toward making positive changes. A scarcity mindset views money as perpetually limited and leads to anxiety-driven decisions. An abundance mindset sees money as readily available and focuses on opportunities. The balanced money mindset, recommended by financial experts, views money as a tool rather than a measure of self-worth, and recognizes the importance of both saving and spending wisely. This 20-80 rule puts financial success within everyone's reach. You don't need complex investment strategies or high income to build wealth. You need psychological habits that support consistent financial behaviors. The contrast between Wayne Newton and financially successful celebrities highlights this perfectly. Wayne Newton's approach was characterized by emotional decisions, present bias, and failure to adapt to changing circumstances. Meanwhile, celebrities like Jay-Z built sustainable wealth by maintaining financial discipline throughout their careers. The basic principles of wealth building are surprisingly simple. Save consistently, invest regularly, minimize debt, and maintain discipline across all life stages. The challenge isn't understanding these principles. It's applying them consistently despite psychological barriers. Proactive financial planning becomes essential. By revisiting your net worth, budget, investments, retirement plan, insurance coverage, and estate plan at the beginning of each year, you align financial strategies with your values and prepare for the future. Remember that financial success is about preparation, not perfection. You need to establish healthy habits that move you consistently in the right direction. This includes setting clear financial goals, tracking expenses, budgeting for emergencies, tackling high-interest debt, and planning for retirement. The key difference between those who build wealth and those who struggle comes down to balancing emotional awareness with practical strategies. By understanding the psychological factors influencing your financial decisions, you create systems that work with your psychology rather than against it. These principles apply across all income levels. People with modest incomes can build impressive wealth through consistent habits, while others with massive earnings end up broke due to poor psychological habits. Financial success isn't about having the most sophisticated strategy. It's about consistently applying basic principles across all life stages. The life cycle hypothesis provides the framework, but psychological discipline in implementation ultimately determines your financial outcome. So, here's a financial reality check. Gen Z is facing higher inflation rates than every other generation. According to Moody's Analytics, their yearly inflation rate in March was about 0.5 percentage point higher than other generations. This statistic reveals how financial challenges impact generations differently. What worked for your parents simply won't work for you. The takeaway? Financial strategies must evolve with both your personal life stage and your generation's economic realities. The principles remain universal, but application must be personalized. Take this moment to reassess your financial plan. Are you applying timeless principles to today's unique